love having my little collection of handhelds like the Game Boys and DS on display in my retro gaming area because, you know, blinky lights. Also, if you turn the sound on all of them, it kind of sounds like you're in an arcade. But let's get real. I'm not made of batteries, and these things chew them up. Some have an adapter port, but many don't. And the ones that don't usually run on disposable batteries. So today we're going to explore a way to build a cheap solution to power things with USB that would normally need batteries. We want to do it in a non-destructive way. I'm not cutting up my Game Boy just so I can put a port on the back. Let's get started. So this is one of my Game Boys. This is a front-lit mod Game Boy Color. And you probably wonder why I front-lit mod instead of the cool backlit mods that are around these days. And it's a good question. The front-lit mod still uses the original hardware, and I find it's just a little bit more, I don't know, authentic. I want to have this up on my display, maybe on. You know, it would be really cool to be able to have them, all of the machines on at the flick of a switch, so I could just leave them on. Let's face it, everything runs off of USB these days. So my goal here is to create something that AC power can be used to power a 5 volt to, say 3.2 or 3 volt adjustable power supply that I can just take the back cover off, plug it in, put it on my shelf with the power adapter plugged in. I can turn it on. You can still pick it up and maybe move it around and play with it if you want. You can't go far. It's on a wire. But if you really want to take it off the shelf and play it for real, you can just pop the batteries back in and put the cover back on and not worry about holes or, you know, ports or anything like that. So what I've decided to do, I ordered some parts from China and they came in finally, and I got a USB adapter breakout board. It just allows you to plug in USB and it gives you the output. And of course it's giving me the output for the data and power. USB cables have power and 5 volts, and they have the data transmission to, you know, sync your phone and stuff like that. But I don't need any of that. All I need is the power. So this board is actually huge compared to what I need. And I might consider using the hot air gun and taking this connector off the board so that it's a smaller form factor. I could just cut it with like side cutters too, down the sides here. It's kind of a, you know, a lot of wasted space. It's got holes in the PCB for screwing it in. But this is the real gem. This is a DC to DC converter that will take a higher voltage and drop it to a low voltage, and this thing right in the middle of your screen is a screw that you can adjust the output, and this one's already been adjusted to put out 3 volts from 5, and in fact I tested it with my bench supply. You can put in 5, 6, 9, doesn't matter, it spits out 3. It doesn't seem to get really hot, and it's tiny. In fact, when you look at this, a battery side by side, this isn't gonna, well, let me see if I can do it. If you look at a battery side by side, this is a AA battery, the width of a AA battery, and that's the width of the board. So in fact, it's narrower than the width of a AA battery. All right, so basically what we've got a way for us to plug in a USB cable. We've got a way to take USB power down to whatever voltage we need, and for 2 batteries, for these 2 batteries, it would have been 3 volts. So this will drop it down to 3 volts with that little screw. And then we've got these guys, and these are a 3D printed battery shell that I got off of Thingiverse. We'll credit the Thingiverse maker down in the bottom there. And they come in different sizes. I've got here's a AAA as well. And what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna bodge this guy in here like this. We're gonna put this guy in here like this, sort of like that. I need to have that sort of more near me. So this will allow me to run some wires at the ends. And then this will just plug right in. I'll leave the battery off at the back. And then I can plug this in with a 5 volt USB style connector. And my idea maybe is to have a 5 volt line running along the shelf, and you can plug in each of the Game Boys or whatever into these, or whatever device that this works on. And then I have it all on a single switch, so I can just shut it off. It'll be interesting to see what kind of current draw it is. I know this Game Boy, I metered it, and before the backlight mod, it took about 55 milliamps, and now it's just under 100, I think. But maybe we can check that again once this is running. And I'd like to see how much what the efficiency is. You know, it's interesting. Is of course I could run this off of a battery pack thing. You know, I could run this off of one of these things. I picked this up in the garbage, actually. Someone threw it out, and I think they didn't know that you had to plug it in, apparently, because it works just fine. Okay, let's get started. Let's make some stuff. So this would ordinarily go in to the back like this, and this guy'd sit up. See how that sits in there? I always find that when I'm making stuff, you don't want to fight nature, you know? So this just wants to sit like that naturally. You could probably just glue it in place and it would stay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some wires in, get it to sit like that. It's hard. If I turn it, it's just going to fall out, but it'll sit like that. I'll try to get some better angles when I'm done here. And we'll, yeah, let's build something. So I think I want to have the wires run out to the bottom and under this little support, just get some wire. Let's get a couple of pieces of, this is 22 gauge. It's just hookup wire that's, I think it's stranded, but it's like not silicone covered. I have some of that, the nice stuff. But frankly, for this kind of work, it's actually not really very good because it's so bendable. It wants to just kind of spring back to its original shape, and it makes things kind of tough to work with. So yeah, let's just solder some stuff up. This 5-volt wire, now how is this? This is going to be like this. I want this in this orientation, so I want the wire coming out the back, so away from the silk screen. Black wire. I just picked these up from Amazon. Actually, I think my wife got them for me for Christmas. And that is the second time I've used them. Like, the first time was on the red wire. There's the red one through, positive, and then actually I want to, oh, nuts, well, buckazoids. I'm going to get a black marker. This is a good tip when you're working with things that are sensitive this way, is put a black mark on the front on the negative so that you know what you're dealing with. I'm putting it on the side actually. So now I've got black marks on the negative sides. So when it's face up, I know that I've hooked it up backwards when it doesn't work. Cut number 3. Pretty good. These are really cheap. These were from Princess Auto. If you guys know Princess Auto, what was I saying about cheap? There you go. Oh, she ain't gonna be pretty. But if she don't find you handsome, she might as well find you handy. 4 strips in a row. You put a little, ouch. Put a little pressure on it. All right. Should we be reasonable and test it at this point? No. We're just gonna assume everything's gonna work just fine, thanks. I have to go get more wire. I always do that. I'm like, I'm gonna save wire. And so I snip it a centimeter shorter than I need to, so I have to stretch it and fuss with it, and then I end up cutting a longer piece to do it a second time. Sound familiar? Is it me, or does everybody else do that too? Wibbling and wobbling around and everything else. I haven't really thought about how I'm going to strip this wire yet. But it'll probably involve my awesome wire strippers, am I right? Ha! Ha ha! Yeah. you can see that, but yeah. I feel like that last time I stripped it and it came out looking pretty cool was a lot of luck. So I'm going to be a little more careful this time. So, yeah, it does work. Yeah, there we go. See, I got my little loops. And there you have it. Hey, how's that look? It's not snazzy. Neato. So now I just got to make a jumper here, right? Like this is going to be something that just doesn't, it just conducts between the two. So, but here we are. We've got a dummy battery that just connects the two together, and we've got a one that does 5 volts down to whatever we set it to. Now, I'm not a dummy. I am going to test this before I go any further. All right, so we've got, what do we got here? 3.1 volts. Now, you know what I want to do is I want to test a battery. For 1.5 volts, I know, but that's nominal or something, right? Look at that, 1.7. So honestly, if we did like 3, 4, you know, you'd be giving good juice to the Game Boy. But I tested it. When I tested it, it works perfectly down to 3 volts. And you go down to 2.8, even below that, the power light starts to flicker a little bit. And when the CPU is doing stuff, you can see the light go down more. Play sound, the light would go down more. So there's clearly, you know, load on it that was causing it to dip the voltage down. But 3, just over 3 seemed to work nice. So that is working really nice. I really like how the whole package is kind of sitting together there. No glue or anything holding it in place. It's just mechanical with that bar. Let's try it out. We've got everything connected, and we're going to put this in the back and turn it on. Ba-ding! Look at that. Pretty awesome. Yeah, it works really well. I'm going to turn the sound down so I don't get a copyright strike from the beings at Nintendo. That actually looks pretty good on screen. Oops. What happened? Oh, see, my battery popped out. Oh, see, that could be a problem. Because I no longer have a battery cover, of course. You know what the battery covers do? They keep the battery from falling out. This will do just fine for my display purposes, to have them up on display. I think that's gone pretty well. You know, button up some of the wiring maybe in the back with some hot glue. You know what? You always think, you know, I'm going to button it up with hot glue. It'll make it a little better. It's no better. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just really bad at hot gluing. Maybe other people are good at the hot glue stuff. But just give you a nice view here. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. Drop them below. Maybe in a later video, we can look at how we can daisy chain these all up and put it all in one switch so that the retro gaming console shelf or shelves can be turned on and off with one switch. I'm going to pull this out. And I think we're done. Cheers. This is why I couldn't use a off-the-shelf adapter for this Game Boy. This guy right here. So it's hard to tell maybe from that. We'll make sure you can see it on camera here. But this is a 3D printed stand, and it has a little nub right there. And that nub allows you to place your Game Boy and stand it up. And of course it covers up all of the goodies like the headphone jack and the DC in. But with this guy in like this, with this guy in like this, my board's sticking at the back here, with this board right here sticking at the back, yeah, and it's that's what it looks like from the back. All right, in its case. So we're gonna plug this guy in here, and there you go. Running off of battery pack for now, but yeah, it gives you an idea of the concept here and why I didn't just use an AC adapter. But I thought I better mention it because somebody'd be like, "Hey, idiot!" Yeah, I mean, you can still say, "Hey, idiot." I'm fine with that, but you know, that's all for now. Cheers.